Daniel Grant stood on the bridge of the Starship Odyssey, staring at the distress signal flashing on the console. The garbled message read, "Uncharted planet, unknown dangers," sparking a mix of intrigue and caution in his mind. A former military strategist, Daniel had seen his fair share of unusual missions, but this one felt different. The uncertainty gnawed at him, but his resolve to uncover the truth was unwavering. Commander Natasha Albright's voice cut through the murmur of the crew. "Attention, team. We've received a distress signal from Planet X-93. Our mission is to investigate and provide assistance if possible. This planet is off the charts, and we have no intel on what to expect. Stay sharp." Daniel glanced at Lieutenant Jason Cooper, his best friend and the ship's pilot, who was already prepping the landing gear. "Ready for another adventure, Coop?" Daniel asked, trying to inject some lightness into the situation. Cooper grinned. "Always, Dan. Let's see what this mysterious planet has in store for us." Dr. Rebecca Sinclair, the astrobiologist on the team, joined them, her face alight with curiosity. "I can't wait to see what kind of life forms we might encounter. Just think of the possibilities." "Let's hope those possibilities don't include anything too hostile," Daniel replied, his mind racing with strategic considerations. The Odyssey's descent through the thick atmosphere of Planet X-93 was rough, the ship shuddering violently as it broke through the cloud cover. "Brace for impact," Cooper yelled, gripping the controls tightly. The ship landed with a jarring thud, and the crew took a moment to steady themselves. The landscape that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and foreboding. Dark forests stretched out under a sky tinged with a strange, otherworldly hue. Bioluminescent plants cast an eerie glow, illuminating the alien terrain. "Stay close and stay alert," Commander Albright ordered as the team disembarked. They moved cautiously, scanning their surroundings with a mix of scientific instruments and military-grade sensors. It wasn't long before they encountered the first signs of trouble. Strange, spindly creatures with iridescent exoskeletons skittered through the underbrush, their movements unnervingly coordinated. Rebecca knelt to examine one, her scanner whirring softly. "Fascinating. Their structure is unlike anything I've seen before." Daniel's instincts flared. "Let's keep moving. We don't want to stick around long enough to find out if they're dangerous." As they ventured deeper, the air grew thicker, almost oppressive. The team reached a clearing, where they found the remnants of a makeshift camp. Tattered tents and scattered supplies indicated a hasty departure. "Looks like whoever sent that distress signal didn't fare too well," Cooper remarked, his voice somber. Commander Albright frowned. "Keep your eyes peeled. There might be survivors." A sudden rustling in the foliage made everyone tense. From the shadows emerged a figure, humanoid but with features that marked it as clearly alien. It was Kara, an enigmatic being with large, luminous eyes and an aura of intelligence. She raised a hand in what seemed to be a gesture of peace. Daniel stepped forward cautiously. "We're here to help. Are you the one who sent the distress signal?" Kara nodded slowly, her voice melodic yet strange. "Yes, I called for aid. My people are in grave danger. The Black Widows, they are cunning and deadly. We must act swiftly." Rebecca's eyes widened. "Black Widows? Can you tell us more about them?" Kara's expression turned grim. "They are a species of unparalleled intelligence and ferocity. They trap and deceive. Many have fallen to their schemes." Daniel exchanged a glance with Commander Albright. "We need a plan. Kara, can you lead us to where your people are?" Kara hesitated, then nodded. "Follow me, but be wary. They are always watching." As they followed Kara through the dense forest, the tension among the team was palpable. Every rustle and shadow seemed to hide a potential threat. Daniel's mind raced with strategies, his military training kicking into high gear. They reached a hidden valley where a small group of Kara's people were huddled, their expressions a mix of relief and fear. The leader stepped forward, thanking them for their bravery. "We need to get you all to safety," Commander Albright said, her tone firm but compassionate. "But we have to do it without attracting the attention of the Black Widows." Suddenly, a shrill sound pierced the air, and the ground trembled. From the tree-line emerged the Black Widows, their eyes gleaming with malicious intelligence. The team braced themselves for the inevitable confrontation. Daniel's mind raced. "We need to create a diversion. Cooper, Rebecca, with me. Commander, get these people to the ship." As the team split, Daniel led his group to a nearby ridge, setting up a series of makeshift traps using the environment and their limited supplies. The Black Widows advanced, their movements eerily synchronized. With a final, desperate effort, Daniel triggered the traps, causing a series of explosions that momentarily disoriented the creatures. "Now, run," he shouted, leading his team back toward the hidden valley. The Black Widows recovered quickly, but the diversion had bought them precious time. As they regrouped with Commander Albright and the refugees, they made a break for the Odyssey. Breathless and battered, they reached the ship. As the ramp closed behind them, Daniel allowed himself a moment of relief. But the mission was far from over. The Black Widows would not give up so easily. Back on the bridge, Daniel looked at his team, determination in his eyes. "We need to figure out how to stop these creatures for good. Our lives depend on it." The crew nodded, ready to face the next challenge. The battle for survival had only just begun, and they knew they had to stay one step ahead of their deadly adversaries. The Starship Odyssey had safely landed, but the sense of foreboding grew as the team ventured deeper into Planet X-93's eerie landscape. Dark, towering trees loomed above, their leaves glowing faintly in shades of blue and green, casting an otherworldly light on the forest floor. The air was thick with the scent of unfamiliar flora, and strange, animalistic sounds echoed through the dense woods. "Stay close and keep your eyes open," Commander Albright instructed, her voice firm yet cautious. She led the way with measured steps, her hand hovering near her sidearm. Daniel Grant scanned the surroundings, his senses on high alert. The team had barely covered 100 meters when the first sign of trouble appeared. Strange, spindly creatures darted between the trees, their exoskeletons shimmering in the bioluminescent glow. These creatures moved with unnerving coordination, their movements almost too synchronized to be natural. "Dr. Sinclair, what do you make of these?" Daniel asked, pointing to one of the creatures that had paused briefly on a branch before scuttling away. Rebecca Sinclair knelt down, adjusting her scanner to capture the creature's details. "Incredible. Their biology is unlike anything I've studied. They seem to communicate through some form of bioluminescence." "We should keep moving," Cooper interjected, his tone edged with urgency. "Standing still makes us easy targets." The team advanced cautiously, navigating the uneven terrain. As they progressed, the forest gave way to a clearing, revealing the remnants of a makeshift camp. Torn tents and scattered equipment lay abandoned, a stark reminder of the previous explorers' fate. "Looks like we found the source of the distress signal," Albright observed grimly. "Fan out and search for clues, but stay vigilant." Daniel approached a tattered tent, its fabric fluttering weakly in the breeze. Inside, he found a partially operational data pad. He activated it, revealing fragmented logs detailing the explorer's encounter with a species referred to as the Black Widows. "Commander, you need to see this," Daniel called out, holding up the data pad. Albright quickly joined him, her eyes scanning the logs. "It confirms what Kara told us. These Black Widows are highly intelligent and extremely dangerous." Just then, a rustling sound from the nearby foliage caught their attention. The team drew their weapons, ready for an attack. From the shadows emerged Kara, the enigmatic alien who had initially warned them of the Black Widows. Her eyes glowed softly, and she raised her hands in a gesture of peace. "I mean no harm," Kara said in her melodic voice. But we must hurry. The Black Widows will soon discover your presence. Why should we trust you? Cooper demanded, his weapon trained on Kara. Because I want to save my people just as much as you want to survive, Kara replied, her gaze steady and earnest. Albright lowered her weapon slightly. Fine. But if this is a trap, it will be the last one you set. Kara nodded, her expression serious. Follow me. There is a safe place nearby where we can regroup and plan. The team followed Kara through a narrow path that led to a hidden cave entrance, concealed by dense vegetation. Inside, the air was cool and damp, and the cave's walls were covered in bioluminescent moss, providing a natural light source. We should be safe here for now, Kara said. The Black Widows rarely venture this far. Daniel studied Kara closely, his mind racing with questions. Tell us more about these creatures. What makes them so dangerous? Kara's eyes darkened as she spoke. The Black Widows are masters of deception and strategy. They lure their prey into traps, using their intelligence to outmaneuver and overwhelm. They communicate through a complex system of pheromones and bioluminescence, coordinating their attacks with precision. How many of them are there? Rebecca asked, her scientific curiosity mingling with concern. Too many, Kara replied. They breed rapidly and adapt to new threats with alarming speed. We must find a way to disrupt their communication network if we are to stand any chance of defeating them. Albright looked at Daniel, her expression determined. We need a plan. If we can disrupt their communication, we might be able to turn the tide in our favor. Daniel nodded, his mind already working on a strategy. First, we need to locate their central hive. If we can disable their primary communication hub, it should cause enough chaos to give us a fighting chance. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a distant, eerie screech echoed through the cave. Kara's eyes widened in alarm. They've found us. We must move now. The team sprang into action, gathering their equipment and preparing to leave the relative safety of the cave. As they emerged, they could see the silhouettes of the Black Widows closing in, their eyes glowing with a predatory light. Daniel took a deep breath, his mind focused on the task ahead. We stick to the plan. Disrupt their communication and create enough confusion to escape. Let's move. With Kara leading the way, the team plunged back into the forest, their resolve steeled for the battle that lay ahead. The stakes had never been higher, and every decision could mean the difference between life and death. The team moved through the dense forest, each step carefully placed to avoid detection. Kara led the way, her movements fluid and confident. Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. His instincts had kept him alive through countless missions, and they were screaming at him now. As they approached a concealed cave, Kara gestured for them to enter. We should be safe here, she said, her voice steady. The Black Widows rarely come this far. Inside the cave, the atmosphere was tense. The walls were covered in bioluminescent moss, casting an eerie glow that illuminated the team's wary faces. Commander Albright wasted no time. We need to know more about these Black Widows. Kara, you said they have a central hive? Kara nodded. Yes. It's their command center, where they coordinate their attacks. If we can disrupt it, we might have a chance to escape. Rebecca's eyes lit up with curiosity. What kind of technology do they use? How do they communicate? They use a complex system of pheromones and light signals, Kara explained. It's incredibly efficient and difficult to interfere with. Daniel's mind raced. If we could find a way to jam their signals, we might be able to cause enough confusion to make our escape. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a low growl echoed through the cave. The team tensed, weapons at the ready. Kara's expression darkened. They're coming. We need to move now. They followed Kara deeper into the forest, moving swiftly yet silently. Daniel's unease grew with each step. He noticed subtle signs that something wasn't right, the way Kara seemed to know exactly where to go, the lack of Black Widow sightings despite their supposed proximity. Finally, they reached a clearing where the air felt charged with a strange energy. Daniel's suspicions crystallized into certainty. "Stop," he commanded, his voice sharp. "This isn't right." Kara turned to face him, her expression unreadable. "What do you mean?" "We've been led into a trap," Daniel said, his eyes locking onto hers. "You're working with them, aren't you?" The rest of the team froze, shock and betrayal flashing across their faces. Kara's expression shifted, a mix of regret and determination. "I had no choice," she admitted. "They have my people. I had to lead you here to save them." Commander Albright stepped forward, her voice icy. "You used us." Kara's eyes pleaded for understanding. "I had no other option. But now that you're here, we can still stop them. We can destroy the hive together." Daniel's mind raced. Betrayal stung, but he knew they had no choice but to move forward. "Fine," he said, his voice hard. "But if you double-cross us again, there will be consequences." They advanced cautiously, the forest growing darker and more oppressive. The clearing opened up to reveal a massive, organic structure pulsating with light. "The hive. How do we get inside?" Cooper asked, his voice low. "There," Kara pointed to a narrow entrance guarded by 2 Black Widows. "We need to take them out quietly." Daniel nodded, signaling Cooper and Rebecca to flank the guards. With swift, silent precision, they neutralized the threat and slipped inside. The interior of the hive was a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, the walls alive with bioluminescent patterns. As they moved deeper, the air grew thick with the scent of pheromones. "This is it," Kara whispered, leading them to a central chamber. The communication hub. The hub was a pulsating mass of organic material, cables of light intertwining like veins. "How do we destroy it?" Rebecca asked, her voice filled with awe and revulsion. "We need to overload it," Kara explained. "A concentrated blast should do it." Daniel set up charges around the hub, his hands moving quickly but carefully. "Everyone, get ready to move. Once this goes off, we need to be far away." As they finished setting the charges, a sudden noise made them turn. Black Widows were closing in, their eyes gleaming with intent. "We need more time," Daniel shouted, arming the detonator. Kara stepped forward, her face resolute. "I'll buy you that time. Go." Before anyone could stop her, she rushed toward the advancing creatures, using her knowledge of their behavior to create chaos. The team sprinted through the tunnels, the sounds of the battle echoing behind them. They burst out of the hive just as the charges detonated, a massive explosion ripping through the structure. The ground shook violently, and the hive collapsed in on itself. Breathless, they regrouped at a safe distance, watching the destruction. "Did we get them all?" Cooper asked, his voice hoarse. "I think so," Daniel replied, his eyes scanning the horizon. "But we can't stay here. We need to get back to the ship." As they made their way back through the forest, Daniel couldn't shake the image of Kara's sacrifice. She had betrayed them, but in the end, she had also saved them. It was a bitter reminder of the complexities of their mission and the dangers that still lay ahead. Daniel Grant and his team raced through the dense forest, the destruction of the hive a faint rumble in the distance. They were disheveled and exhausted, but there was no time to rest. The Black Widows would regroup quickly, and they had to reach the Starship Odyssey before that happened. "How much further?" Cooper panted, scanning the surroundings for any sign of pursuit. "Not far," Daniel replied, his eyes sharp and focused. "We need to stay vigilant." Rebecca adjusted her pack, glancing at the bioluminescent flora that cast an eerie glow on their path. "I can't believe Kara sacrificed herself for us. She betrayed us, but in the end, she chose to help." "She did what she had to," Albright said, her tone firm. Now it's up to us to make sure her sacrifice wasn't in vain. The forest thinned as they approached a clearing, and the Odyssey's silhouette became visible against the alien sky. Relief washed over the team, but Daniel's instincts remained on high alert. Let's not get complacent. The Black Widows won't give up easily. As if on cue, a piercing screech filled the air, and dozens of Black Widows emerged from the shadows, their eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. Go, go, go! Daniel shouted, leading the charge toward the ship. The team sprinted across the clearing, dodging the advancing creatures. Cooper and Albright fired their weapons, buying precious seconds. Rebecca stumbled, but Daniel was there to haul her to her feet. Keep moving. They reached the Odyssey's ramp, and Cooper hit the controls to lower it. The ship's automated defenses activated, targeting the nearest Black Widows and creating a brief but necessary barrier. The team scrambled aboard, and the ramp closed just as the creatures closed in. Seal the ship and prepare for liftoff. Albright commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. Daniel and Rebecca headed to the bridge, where the familiar hum of the ship's systems brought a sense of normalcy. Cooper, get us airborne, Daniel ordered. The ship's engines roared to life, and the Odyssey lifted off, leaving the clearing and the swarming Black Widows behind. The view from the bridge showed the planet receding, its strange forests and glowing flora becoming distant memories. We made it, Rebecca said, her voice filled with a mix of relief and exhaustion. Not quite yet, Daniel replied, his eyes fixed on the console. We need to ensure the Black Widows can't follow us. Cooper, set a course for the nearest wormhole. We'll lose them in the transit. As the ship adjusted its trajectory, Albright joined them on the bridge. What's our status? We're in the clear for now, Daniel said. But we need to stay vigilant. The Black Widows are resourceful. We can't underestimate them. Albright nodded, her expression thoughtful. Kara mentioned disrupting their communication. Do you think it's enough to keep them off our trail? It should buy us some time, Daniel replied. But we need to analyze the data we gathered and find a more permanent solution. Rebecca sat at her station, her fingers flying over the controls. I'll start sifting through the data now. There might be something we can use to our advantage. The ship's sensors beeped, and Cooper's voice came over the intercom. We're approaching the wormhole. Brace for transition. The Odyssey shuddered as it entered the wormhole, the view outside shifting to a swirling vortex of light and color. The ship accelerated, and the familiar sensation of faster-than-light travel enveloped them. Minutes later, they emerged on the other side, the star-studded expanse of space stretching out before them. Course correction complete, Cooper reported. No signs of pursuit. Daniel exhaled, finally allowing himself a moment of relief. Good work, everyone. Let's regroup and assess our next steps. Albright placed a hand on his shoulder. You did well, Daniel. This isn't over, but we've made significant progress. Rebecca looked up from her console, her expression determined. I found something. The data from the Hive contains detailed schematics of their communication network. If we can decipher it, we might be able to develop a countermeasure. That's our priority then, Daniel said. We'll need to work together to understand and dismantle their network. It's our best chance to end this threat once and for all. As the team settled into their tasks, the weight of their mission hung over them. They had survived the immediate danger, but the larger battle against the Black Widows was far from over. Each of them knew that their journey was just beginning, and their resolve would be tested in ways they could only imagine.